Time travel sounds too far-fetched. Well, think again, because these 10 photographs vividly capture moments that defy logic and reason, serving as chilling evidence that traveling through time might just be possible after all. These photos are so perplexing, it makes you question everything you know about the past, present, and future. Photos with strange details that don't quite line up with history as we know it. Images that blur the line between possible and impossible. While it may sound far-fetched, these 10 photos make a compelling case that traversing time might not be so far out of reach after all. Number 1. Charlie Chaplin's time travel. Back in 2010, something quite peculiar from Charlie Chaplin's 1928 movie, The Circus DVD, popped up on the internet. However, it wasn't a scene from the movie. Rather, it was an extra feature. The video showed the film's grand premiere at the famed Chinese theater in Hollywood. Now, what caught everyone's eye was a woman strolling by, seemingly engrossed in conversation with an object held up to her ear. Strangely enough, that object bore an uncanny resemblance to the modern-day mobile phone. You might be thinking, mobile phones in 1928? That's impossible. And you'd be right. At that time, mobile phones were nothing but a sci-fi dream, not a reality. So what was this woman up to? When this clip hit the web, there was a flood of theories. Some people thought she might be using an early hearing aid, but historical records of 1920s hearing aids show that they were much larger and looked entirely different from the mysterious object this lady was holding. Of course, the skeptics weighed in, using logic and science to dismiss any talk of time travel. They argued that the lady was simply using some object common in her era, and our modern eyes were playing tricks on us. A paranormal researcher named Benjamin Radford even pointed out that we tend to find patterns and similarities in things we don't understand. In this case, our brains jumped to the conclusion that the lady was using a cell phone because that's what we're familiar with. But there are those who won't let go of the idea of a Chaplin-era time traveler. They're fueled by the mysteries of the universe, theories of wormholes, and the idea of time loops. You see, quantum physics has proposed the existence of multiple timelines where the past, present, and future all coexist. If you're willing to buy into that, then maybe, just maybe, the lady was a visitor from another timeline. Whether you think it's a trick of the eye, an honest mistake, or a glimpse into the mind-bending world of time travel, the Chaplin time traveler will always spark debate. Number 2. The Adidas trainer's mummy. A couple of years back, archaeologists had quite the discovery when they dug up an ancient mummy in Mongolia. What caught everyone's eye were the funky-looking shoes she had on, which seemed to have a weird resemblance to Adidas trainers. Cue the time travel theories, right? But then, as they delved deeper, it turned out this mummy had been in the ground for about 100 years. When they kept digging, they found some other stuff around her. A clutch bag from back in the day, a mirror, a comb, a knife. She was more likely a Turkic seamstress, just rocking some fresh kicks for her time. But hey, who knows? Maybe she was the OG trendsetter of her era, just minding her own business 1,000 years ago. Number 3. The hipster of 1941. This photo has been a head-scratcher for history buffs and time travel enthusiasts alike. This single snapshot seems pretty ordinary at first glance, but it gets increasingly peculiar the more you look. The picture was taken during the reopening ceremony of the South Forks Bridge in British Columbia. It captures a typical 1940s scene. Men in fedoras, women in conservative dresses, and kids rocking suspenders. But there's this one guy who doesn't fit the mold. He's dressed like he's from another era. Almost hipster-like, you might say. With his logo emblazoned t-shirt, cool shades, and a portable camera, he sticks out like a sore thumb among the folks of the early 40s. It's this stark contrast that has led many to think he might be a time traveler who accidentally landed in 1941, equipped with gadgets and clothes from a completely different time. The modern logo on his t-shirt, his wraparound shades, and that portable camera just don't jive with the fashion and tech of 1941. Now, the strongest argument against this time-traveling theory is the t-shirt. While it might look modern, screen-printed tees were indeed a thing by the 1940s. That logo on his shirt might not be from a well-known brand, but it could have been a design of the time, just not a widely recognized one. Despite these explanations, the photograph remains a captivating topic of debate. The hipster of 1941 undeniably stands out. And even if each piece of his attire can be explained, the combination of all these anachronistic elements on one person in 1941 is incredibly rare. Whether this hipster was simply an avant-garde individual ahead of his time, or a genuine enigma, in the fabric of time, his image continues to captivate. It serves as a visual ode to the mysteries of time and the limitless realm of possibilities that exist just beyond our grasp. Number 4. Native American checking his Insta DMs? This fascinating mural from the 1930s has sparked some wild theories about time travel. The mural, titled Mr. Pinchon and the Settling of Springfield, was crafted by Italian artist Umberto Romano in 1937. It vividly captures the moment when settlers arrived in the town during the 1620s. Now, here's where it gets curious. In the scene, there's a Native American local, and he's doing something that seems pretty out of place for the 17th century. He's holding up a small, black, rectangular object that's eerily similar in shape to an iPhone. What's more, he's looking straight at it, almost as if he's about to snap a selfie. This odd object has left people scratching their heads. After all, iPhones, with all their smart technology, didn't make their debut until 2007. So what on earth is this mysterious rectangular thing boring an uncanny resemblance to iPhone doing in a 1930s mural depicting the 1620s? Number 5. Time traveler sunbathing in the midst of a historic photo capturing hundreds of Brits finding respite from the times of World War II. On the sandy shores of Cornwall in 1943, there's a peculiar character that has ignited quite the debate among time travel enthusiasts. In the middle of sunbathing families and beachgoers, you can't help but notice a brown-suited man who stands out. He's intently peering at something in his hand that looks uncannily like a modern electronic device. The sight of him seemingly using such a gadget during a time when they were as far from existence as flying cars raised more than a few eyebrows. Naturally, the theories that this man might be a time traveler, or perhaps a visitor from another era, brought a fair share of attention from others. They swiftly dismissed the notion, offering a more grounded explanation that he was just a well-dressed fellow, skillfully rolling himself a cigarette. Number 6. Vladimir Putin. There's an almost century-old photograph that's got social media buzzing with a wild theory that Russian leader Vladimir Putin is actually immortal. The photo, snapped in 1920, features a Russian soldier who bears an uncanny resemblance to Putin himself. And here's where it gets even weirder. There's another picture from 1941 showing a Russian soldier who looks just like Putin, the same guy who appeared in that 1920 photo. Now, for some, this is all the proof they need to believe that Putin isn't just a 63-year-old fitness enthusiast with a thing for going shirtless while riding horses. Nope, they're convinced he's some mythical creature who's ageless and can time travel. And if that's not enough, there are also folks out there who believe Putin is none other than Vlad the Impaler, who was born in 1431 and is better known as Dracula. But wait. Some believe Putin also had a stint as Lisa Gherardini, the lady famously known as the subject of Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa painting. Given that she was painted back in the early 1500s, maybe Putin decided to go undercover after his Dracula days. Or perhaps he just hopped in a time machine and posed for the painting. Now, this whole saga may sound like a bonkers conspiracy theory, but it's got people talking and scratching their heads. So who knows what the real deal is? Number 7. Nicolas Cage's 1800s doppelganger? There's this intriguing trend where people today bear a striking resemblance to folks from times long gone by. It's quite the head-scratcher, a spooky coincidence, or maybe, just maybe, proof that time travel isn't just a thing of sci-fi movies. I mean, think about it. What if some of our favorite celebrities are leading a secret double life in another century? It sounds far-fetched, but the stories are out there. In 2011, there was this eBay seller who tried to cash in by selling an antique Civil War-era portrait for a whopping $1 million. Why the sky-high price tag, you ask? Well, the man in that old photo looked uncannily like Hollywood star Nicolas Cage. Now, here's the thing. That unknown man was captured in a photograph way back in 1870 and is believed to have lived in Bristol, Tennessee. When this whole thing came to light, people started to speculate. Was the Night at the Museum star actually a time traveler or maybe even a vampire? The eBay seller, a guy named Jack Mord, who listed the photo for that eye-popping price, even went ahead and gave it the title, Nicolas Cage is a Vampire. Now, how did Mr. Cage respond to these wild rumors? Well, he addressed them on the David Letterman show about a year later, saying, "Now look, I don't drink blood, and the last time I looked in the mirror, I had a reflection. So I'm not going with this vampire theory. I'm just not going to do it." Number 8. The flip phone at the 1962 World Cup. World Cup was a classic moment in football history. Brazil emerged victorious against Czechoslovakia, and the image of their captain, Mauro Ramos, triumphantly hoisting the trophy is etched in the annals of the sport. But what really caught people's attention in this photograph wasn't the soccer glory. It was the device a photographer in the media scrum appeared to be holding. You see, in the midst of that celebratory chaos, it seems like that person is clutching a flip phone. Now the thing is, flip phones didn't hit the market until 1996, and they didn't become all the rage until the mid-2000s. So, if you were to believe the time traveler enthusiasts, this photo suggests that someone may have come from the year 2007, or thereabouts, when the Motorola Razr was the coolest thing around. Number 9, the painting with a woman holding a modern device. Art, in all its forms, is like a mirror reflecting society, capturing moments, emotions, and sometimes even throwing up perplexing mysteries that defy easy explanations. One such enigma is entwined in a painting that has left the community of time travel enthusiasts buzzing with speculation. The painting we're talking about is The Expected One by Austrian artist Ferdinand Georg Waldmüller, created back in the 1860s. At first glance, it's a scene with a young woman strolling along a rural path, clutching a small box while bowing her head, almost as if she's deep in prayer. But, on closer inspection, that box bears an uncanny resemblance to a modern smartphone. The young woman seems to be peering at the object, much like how we'd scrutinize our phones while reading a text message or scrolling through photos. Now, as with most historical mysteries, there's a more down-to-earth interpretation. Art historians and critics argue that the young woman is holding a hymn book or a small Bible, which were common in religious-themed artworks of that era. The act of reading a sacred text in quiet contemplation was a recurring motif in religious art, symbolizing devotion and reflection. That glow or light that some say emanates from the device could simply be the sheen from the gilded pages, or a stylistic choice by the artist. The essence of art is, after all, in interpretation and subjectivity. Artists often took creative liberties with their subjects, infusing them with symbolism, allegory, and sometimes a dash of whimsy. It's entirely possible that Waldmüller's intention was to play with light, perspective, and the viewer's perception. But, you see, the allure of this painting as a potential peek into the world of time travel still persists. This artwork is the creation of Dutch painter Pieter de Hooch and portrays a charming domestic scene. What's so intriguing is that it's so convincing that even Apple's CEO himself, Tim Cook, seems to think it might show one of his company's models. In the painting, there's a man standing to the right, and in his hands, he's holding a small object. Now, according to some conspiracy theorists, that small object suspiciously looks like an iPhone. And just to add to the mystery, there are a couple of women and some dogs looking on. Tim Cook himself said that, "I always thought I knew when the iPhone was invented, but now I'm not so sure anymore." While it's highly unlikely that iPhones existed in the 17th century, this discovery sure adds a sprinkle of mystery to the art piece. That's it for today's video. What are your thoughts on these mind-boggling photographs? Have you stumbled upon any intriguing time-related anomalies yourself? Share your theories and ideas in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.